what are the things that you would do if you were asked to manage a process? Let's say you were going to buy a luxury car. What is it that you will do? The first thing that you will look at is which is the car that will be suitable for you. So you actually look at what is your budget and what is your need, and hence what is it you do? You actually plan. So planning is something that is critical in a management process. So that's the first step. You actually look at what you have and what is it that you want. Now supposing you have done this bit, what is the next thing that you will do? Going back to the example of the car, you might actually organize. You look at the funds available in different banks, so you group it together. You pull in the experience of your friends to know which is the right car or the right scheme that you want post buying the car. So actually organizing is nothing but grouping of activities. So you have the service and the car coming together. You're looking at the different things that would come along with the car. So not just the basic model, you're looking at maybe the leather seats, you're looking at the latest one you have is parking assistance. So things like that, you're grouping activities together. Then what if you buy a luxury car, very expensive, and you're not very good at driving it? So what do? You actually staff. So you staff and you employ a driver for your car, because you're scared that if you make a mistake or if you don't have the adequate skills to drive a big car, a luxury car in the city, then you might end up paying more than what you would actually pay a driver. Then you have the directing section, or the directing part, and the controlling. A lot of people get confused between directing and controlling. What do you mean by directing or directing? Directing actually means you set certain rules, or you have an idea how things should be done. So you actually communicate this, and then you help people understand what you're trying to say. Controlling, on the other hand, is basically something like a post-mortem. So once things have happened, or over a period of time, you actually look back and you change the things according to your requirement, according to what you want to achieve. Hence, directing is more of now, and controlling is more of changing things once you have analyzed a given outcome. So these are some of the things that you would do. If you take another example, if you were to organize a charity show, what are the things that you would have to do? You would obviously want to plan. When is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? How much is it going to cost? Once you decide upon that, then you can look at organizing. So who are the people who can be clubbed together? Who are the people you need? Or what are the teams rather that you would need for achieving this task? What are the resources that you would have to pull in? What are the things that you would have to think about, as in one entity would be organizing? Staffing, you may not have all the people, so you might require a few volunteers, you might have to pay them, you might have to recruit them and train them as well. So that is another thing that you would have to do if you want to organize a charity show or charity walk. And directing, how people are going to do what time it's going to start, how are you going to communicate things to the people, what are they supposed to do, and all these things would come under directing. And controlling would be certain checkpoints. After you see what is happening, you will actually go and make the necessary changes. So these are the things that would be the functions of management. Now this debate has been there for a long time. Is management a science, or is it an art? Now this question has been asked by many people, and the answer is never definitive or a clear-cut answer, and that is why this debate still rages on. During Industrial Revolution, a lot of people thought that management was about thinking at the past and the present and trying to really use that as valuable information to get better output in the future. And it was considered as a science like maths or physics or chemistry, where people could study a phenomenon and understand how the process is going on, and hence improve upon it. So if x plus y was equal to z, then for the future you could actually improve x or improve y in order to get a better z, and that was the assumption. But there was a challenge. Now, considering management as a normal science, or as science in its normal sense, was a challenge, because although management was a science in a certain way, it was actually social science. So social science made it complex. Why? Because in social science, or in society, x plus y is not equal to z. It is x plus y is equal to z plus a constant factor, which depends on various other things like the emotions and the people's feelings and the mood and various things that are involved with human life. And hence it became far more complex, and that is the challenge you're facing. Supposing you fire an employee, according to management science, you just assume that the previous employees who have been fired would be upset with the company or try to do something against the company, which are all normal reactions. But unlike normal science, like if you mix an acid and a base in a right proportion, you get what is called as a salt. So unlike that, here you may not understand what the reaction would be. That's why social science is a bit more challenging than the normal science itself. And hence management as a science, the concept of management as a science began to draw a lot of criticism. Now a lot of people began to think it was more of an art. They began to think that the way you manage people, the way you manage resources was not entirely up to knowing the past, but rather a skill that you could use effectively. It was like an artist. Now the answer to the question whether management is a science or management is an art itself is somewhere in between, because there is no thing as black and white as far as management is concerned. You would say that management is a science, but also it has to be practiced as an art to be successful. So you could use the information, you could try and make it as scientific as possible, but really the success would lie in the fact that the person who is using it would use it tactfully, creatively as well, and hence it cannot be clearly defined as either a science or an art, but rather as something that is both a science and an art.